Good morning, Orchinistas. Welcome to the channel Forever Orchids. My name is Tracy. Hello, fellow orchid lovers across the world. Let me show you one of my grow spaces. I've put some orchids outside for the summer, and I just thought I'd give you a little update of what's out here. Well, I'll start right here with Dendrobium kingianum. I got this plant a couple months ago from a fellow Orchid Society member. It was full of kikis. It was in bloom. I've done a video about it that I'll put down in the description. And I pulled a bunch of kikis off and potted them up, and here they are. There's 4 of them, more kikis, but 4 pots full of kikis here. And they're just doing phenomenal. This one is growing in sphagnum moss here. And I've got a new shoot here and one here. And the one here in the back, this whole piece right here is new. And let's see here. Oh, look at this one here. We've got a kiki growing here off of this one. And this one down here planted in bark and sphagnum moss and terracotta has a kiki growing. It has another new growth coming up back here. And one, let me get my hand out of the way, right down here. Can you see that right there? These are just doing phenomenal. Look at the new growth coming up out of these. And I've got a kiki coming off of the top of this one. Hey, put in the comments if you know why these have a tendency to kiki so frequently from the top here of the pseudobulbs instead of down at the bottom. Now, I do have a bunch coming out of the mother plant, I'll call it here. We've got some new growth. Let me get my hands out of the way here. Get this plant turned around. And I've got a new cane. This one right here is growing. That has come out of the base. So it does do that coming out of the base, but it also has a lot of kikis on it. Okay, enough about this plant. I'm putting it back down here. Let's go to the next one beside of it. This one here is called LC, oh, it's RLC now, excuse me, RLC Lynette's Snowstorm. This is a beautiful white with kind of a magenta striated lip. This is gorgeous. And this is a Brassavola nodosa hybrid. This is Brassavola nodosa crossed with Stephen Oliver Four-Raker. May have a little bit of scale here I need to take care of out here. And this is my Vanda that I got last year back in May of 2023 at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got this as a bag baby. And last year, all I did was take the basket that it was in. I put a couple pieces of lava rock down in it, put it in a terracotta with lava rock, and then just topped it with cork so those roots would have a little bit of a nice substrate to crawl across. Last year, I got a ton of new roots on it. Not a whole lot this year. Got a lot of new leaves last year, but I've got one right here. Oh, and I hate to do this to you. I wanted to go back to the Dendrobium kingianums. I didn't tell you guys. I've had these sitting out since the 1st of April, and we are now at the end of June. And on the kingianums, I've left them out here since April the 1st. There's only been 1 or 2 days that I've actually brought them back inside. Our nighttime temperatures were getting down into the 40s and mid 40s, and that was okay to leave the kingianums out here, to leave the dendrobiums. Other plants have been coming outside once the temperatures would remain above 60 at night, especially the Vanda here. Definitely did not leave it outside unless the temperatures were 60 or above at night. Okay, let's move on. Let's try to move quickly here. This plant right here is the, what is this, an RBY Dosa Lemon. It's another Brassavola nodosa cross. And this is the Carrots Cooler variety. And I put it outside here, and we've got, wasn't thinking too much was happening with it. It was just kind of sitting out here. I have not repotted it, but I've also done a video on this one. And all I did was just barely move this here. This is how easy the Dendrobium kikis come off. Barely touched it and it's off. I'll put that to the side and we'll get that potted up, share with some friends. Okay, so I wasn't thinking this plant was doing anything, and then I started noticing some new roots, green root tips here, but then look right here. Look at this new growth that's popping up out of this pseudobulb here. So it is recovering. Like I said, it wasn't doing that great, but it is recovering. Look at the new root tips that are coming out here. And look at that. Now I've got another growth coming out right here. This is a huge white, kind of cream color flower influenced by Brassavola nodosa. All right, moving on. I have an aloe plant. This here is BC Maikai. This is the cultivar Louise. Let's pull this up here so you can see. This one was in one of my rescued orchid videos where I rescued this from some place that I volunteer at, and it's gone crazy. It's got a lot of new growth on it. Some of it has already started to mature, and it's still got other growths coming out of it. Look, there's 4 just right here. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3 in the back, and 4. So this whole little section here has 4 new growths coming out of it. They're loving being outside this time of year. Now the temperatures right now are getting into the mid 90s. I keep an eye on my plants and keep them well watered. This is a Maxillera tenifolia that I was gifted. Had somebody come to a place that I volunteer at with a gorgeous plant, and they needed it repotted and divided, and they were nice enough to give me this division of it. Okay, in the back here, this is LC. I always get these. No, this is straight up Cattleya. It is straight up Cattleya now. And I do see that I am getting some scale out here. I'm going to spray these with neem oil, wipe off any scale with alcohol if need be, and then I'll spray these with neem oil. Anyway, this is Cattleya Dinard. And look at this new growth here that is coming up. It's gorgeous. Now, these plants here they're on the east side of the house. They are getting morning sun. They do get direct sun. And they're getting direct sun until about 11:30 in the morning. But what you do if you want to do this and put these cattleyas in direct sun is you want to start them off slowly and move them into the direct sun. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. I have a plant that we can talk further about that on and show you some things on it. All right, this is one that I got from a haul in the Asheville, North Carolina mountains that I went to a show there. And this is that gorgeous Zerulia. This is luddemanniana, and I've got that video that I'll put in the description. Here is Cattleya luddemanniana variety semi-alba KS Shapley crossed with luddemanniana variety Zerulia Casey's Dream, which has an FCC by the American Orchid Society. This plant is, in my opinion, absolutely gorgeous, this flower on this. So this is the bulb here that bloomed, and I've been waiting patiently for that bulb to start growing. Let me turn the plant around here so you can see. And I've just been waiting patiently. Nothing happening. Nothing right here except for some swelling on either side of that pseudobulb that was in bloom. Oops, let's get its focus there so you can see the swelling around this pseudobulb here that I'm talking about right here. And I've seen absolutely nothing from it except a back bulb. This back bulb right here has started pushing out a new growth. So I'm very excited about that, because that would be awesome if this would push out, continue to push out, and then the last year's growth, this pseudobulb here that was in bloom, if it would go on and push out some growth. That is going to be phenomenal. So I keep fertilizing. I fertilize my orchids every time they get fed with every time they get watered with a little bit of fertilizer in the mix. All right, moving on. Back here in the back, this is a recent acquisition that I got this year in May. Oops, I have a luddemanniana that doesn't want to stand up right there. Okay, this is a Brassavola nodosa. This is a Better Grow orchid that I got as a bag baby, and this is the 4N variety cross with Mass Major. And I think this is actually a Susan Fuchs, excuse me, Susan Fuchs 4N variety that this is crossed with. So this is a Brassavola nodosa hybrid. Excuse me, it's not hybrid. That's straight up species Brassavola nodosa. Okay, alrighty then. Recently, the last video that was posted was the Elaine Taylor, the beautiful red. This is an RTH Elaine Taylor Cruel Smith, and I divided that one. So we've got one of the divisions here, turned around so I don't break off the new growth, and it had two new growths on it. So here you can see that they have continued to grow. And I've got the other one on a different shelf, so I'll show you that one in just a second. Back here on the back, this is a Brassavola, it's a Brassocatlia Tetradip Junco crossed with Potinera Elegant Dancer Rouge. And this is what the flower will look like. I like to make these little cards here to put down in my orchids of what the potential bloom is going to be, if it's a seedling or whether or not it's actually in bloom. Okay, moving along. We've got some new growth here. Here is a new growth right here, and it looks like there's another eye right there that is swelling right in here. So that's doing really good. Okay, moving along. This here is a Stitch Labs. This is an RLC Stitch Labs right here that I got in March of 2023. So it's had some new growth on it. It's doing good. I'm looking for new growth now. And I'm not seeing any at the moment. Get down in there. Okay, back next to it. Let's go next to it. This is Cattleya Hawaiian Wedding Song. And we've got some cobwebs here. And it's pushing out two new leaves. And these leaves have decided that they're going to be bifoliate. The majority of the plant here, everything is unifoliate. But this one is deciding that these two new leaves are going to be bifoliate. And that's fine. The one thing I do want you to look at here is this growth right here has pushed out. Yeah, let me make sure. Nope, wait. I think it's actually this growth back here is where the rhizome is pushing out this growth. What I want to show you is let's get this leaf out of the way. Look at the sheaths here. This is the outer sheath right here coming up to this point. This is the outer sheath that is turned brown from the other one here. And as long as those sheaths, your new growths, are getting taller than the year before, as your plants are maturing, that is excellent. That's what you want to look for. Directly behind that is this lovely Cattleya here. Let me pull out the tag here so you can read what it says here. Here we go. It's an RLC, and it's from Akatsuko. And this is a summer bloomer. I don't know that the plant is mature enough to bloom yet. Let's see here. It did have a sheath when I got it on this pseudobulb, but it did not bloom. And this is the new growth that it is pushing out. Very, very nice growth here. Let's see if we can take a peek down in there. I don't know if there's a sheath coming out for flowers that we can see yet. But there again, I've got the sheath here is taller than the pseudobulb that it came from. So it's continuing to do what it's supposed to do at this time. All right, let's move to this one right here beside of it. And we'll take this one and set it up on the railing here and flip it around and show you. This is one I got from Carter & Holmes. This is SLC Newberry Pink Samba. It's a seedling, so I gave it the cultivar name Forever. And it pushed out I think it was in bloom last year. I've done a video of it so you can see that haul, but it had already bloomed and the blooms faded when it got shipped. So it put out a new growth, and then this year's new growth has decided to bloom for me. Look at that. Gorgeous little pink flowers here. Now they're cupped. They're not opened all the way, and I think what the problem is that they got trapped inside of the sheath. They didn't grow all the way out of the sheath, so it was a little difficult for them to do a really good presentation. And I've been trying to get it staked up and when I'm done videoing, everybody's going to get some water because the heat here. They just need some water more frequently. All right, that is that shelf. Now let's go up to the top shelf here. This is another rescued orchid here. This one here is a no ID. It's just pink with purple lip in it. And it's got a new growth here. And see, this is really, really floppy. So we are in desperate need of some water right now. And I'm also, this watering, will be watering this with some calcium, magnesium supplement. They desperately need some they need some help to get some stronger growth here. And so we're going to get this one tied up a little bit more to help this pseudobulb. So just in a day, it has flopped over like this. So we're going to get everybody really good watering today. Okay, here next to that is one of my Vandas. This is a Vanda Ubi, which is another Neo-Phoenicia type with Rhynchocentrium lotta gold. Got beautiful little sunset color flowers that are on this one. Have not repotted it since I got it. I've just been letting it just sit, and we brought it out this year to see what kind of growth we can get off of it. I have another Vanda falcata out here that I forgot to show you down on a lower bench. So let me bring that up into the frame here. Scoot it right here. Okay. Whoops. Let's see if it'll sit right there. This is Vanda falcata magenta queen crossed with purple angel. So this is a dark Neo-Phoenicia, now called Vandas. And it wasn't indoors doing that great for me. It had lost several leaves, but since I've moved it outside, it has a new leaf coming up here in the center right here. So, and I did not repot it. It's just straight up the way it is in a little basket inside of a plastic pot. I did top dress it with some sphagnum moss since it was stressing indoors, so that I could get it, hopefully, the more moisture that it needed to survive the winter. All right, I'll put that back down. Okay, remember I said the Elaine Taylor? Well, here's the second one that we repotted. We divided this plant. There was actually 2 in the pot. And so on this one here, we had some new root tips when we repotted it. And they have died back, so they're not really going to go anywhere. But look at this new root tip right there. Can you see that green? And then look, it's pushing out a new growth right here. Look at that. Isn't that great? Now, this new growth here is not green, as you see. It is a darker color. This is a dark flower. So it's okay that this pseudobulb that's coming out right here is showing that darkness in its growth pattern. We've got maybe a little bit of darkening there. I'm keeping an eye on these for the sun to make sure they're not getting burned. Okay, now this one back here in the back is another rescued orchid. This, I believe, after it bloomed and sent it to some friends, that I believe this is Cattleya Mildred Reeves is what this one is. And let's show you it. Now, I did not repot it at all. I just left it, but look at all the new root tips that are growing on the outside. This is a new growth here that I've been trying to train to go upright into the ring instead of it coming straight out. When you're indoors, you have a tendency to have a problem with your cattleyas. All of their new growth wants to go straight towards the light. Most of the time, that is straight towards the window. And you have to light train your orchids, as they call it. You can move it around to let it naturally pull itself up, or you can adjust it a little bit with the ring here, or I've got here this Velcro brand of garden tape, so to speak. Now, I do have this. This will be down in the description. If you want to purchase this, anything that I use is down in the description so that you can purchase those off of Amazon, items that I use. So this is another new growth here that I'm training it. It looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Getting it to grow straight up. So that's the only thing we've got going on with this particular plant is new roots and the new growth. Okay, now we talked a little bit about getting your orchids, moving them outdoors for the summer, and that you don't want them to get sunburn. Here's an example of a plant that when I moved it out here, it was starting to get too much sun, and I had to move it so that it would be shaded by the Mildred Reeves here as the sun comes down at an angle. this way. And so the sun on cue is coming out from behind a cloud as we speak, and going to show you the sunlight that this is getting. So this here is another bag baby that I got back in May of 2023, and I have videos on that where I'm showing you all of those that I've received, and all of those a few months later I did an update on them, as well as we'll give you a little update right now. But here it is. This is a Burdekin Wonder crossed with Spring Squall, crossed with Mount Hood Mary. This is supposed to be pink with a yellow throat. Hope it is. If it's not, that's fine, because every single one of these plants on their own is not pink if they're white, or even a semi-alba possibly. Okay, so moving right along, let me show you that sunburn that it was starting to get. Look here, and look down in here on the leaves, right in here. Can you see that sunburn? Not sure the camera, here we go. Now you can see that sunburn. So you'll get some darkening on the leaves, and then that little section will start to wrinkle up as the cells are starting to die from the sunburn. Hopefully I pulled this out from the sun quick enough when I started to notice it. This was several weeks ago when I started to notice it, and I pulled it out, put it behind Mildred Reeves, and we're doing okay. We have a new growth here. Look at this new growth coming out right here. I did repot this one recently from a 4-inch pot that it was in into this 6-inch terracotta with bark mixture, some sphagnum moss, and let's see here. I think there's a little bit of, what is that? Is that like a, oh, actually it's a little rock, a little white little rock there. So, and there's possible that I put lava rock down in the bottom to, knowing that this was going to go outside, that would kind of help stabilize the plant in some wind. It wouldn't blow off. Okay, last but not least, let's look at this one. This one I did a video of it a few weeks ago, and the title of that video was, Did I Repot This Too Late? No, I did not. This is my Clowesia Grace Dunn. Has a little ant crawling on it. Get that off. And so here she is. So no, I did not plant that too late. Look, these leaves here, the bulbs have gotten taller. Remember that little short one there that was coming out from this back bulb? Look how much taller it's gotten. Roots, look at these roots here. So we did it in sphagnum moss, bark, and lava rock. And look at this root coming down, getting into that water reservoir that's down there. Look at this one here. Look at that root. Look at the roots coming. It's enjoying it. Look at this, coming down here too. So it's continuing to grow. It's doing really, really great. If you guys have any of the catasetums, this is my first one, any Cloesias, and I'm hoping this is okay. I mean, right in there, there's a lot of wiggle, so I hope we're okay. And once the pseudobulbs start filling up and maturing, I think that will stabilize a little bit better. But there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It is now getting to the point where it is probably, because I'm using my phone, I don't have the time. It might be getting 9:15, 9:30 in the morning, and I am dripping with sweat. Sorry to be so gross about that, but it is humid. It is so humid and so hot right now. The temperature's supposed to get, I believe, 89 or 90 today. Or last week we were having some temperatures in the mid 90s. But before it gets too late, I'm going to give everybody a really good watering. I've got some water out here in a spray bottle, not a spray bottle, but a pump sprayer. And I've put some calcium magnesium in it. And so everybody's going to get watered with that today. And until next time, guys, happy orchid growing. Bye.